Hello there, this is Big Benedict. We're playing Resident Evil 4 on Professional difficulty, and this is my no damage run for the aforementioned title and difficulty. We're on Chapter 1-3, and there is one enemy in the bathroom down here. You can knife him through the door if you want to, but it isn't necessary. And as you can see, if he's anywhere near the door when you kick it open, it will have an effect on him and he will hit the ground. So I'm not sure why they put that enemy in there, but he's not a threat since the save point is right before where he's at. And you can access the typewriter here. And if you just stand right here after you kick the door open, you can see that this collection of enemies is just waiting to aggro. And I've got this particular headshot where I get two of them at once several times, and it's not hard to do, but it just feels so good when that happens. So when the guy comes, I don't think we've fought Jesus fucking Christ, I don't think we've fought one of these guys yet before. But what you want to do is be very careful when you're knifing him on the ground, because he gets up quickly, he has a lot of HP, and this guy can't be stunned with the knife when he's on foot unless you hit him like right in the face, which gives you the prompt to kick him. But don't linger and loiter too much by him while he's trying to get up, just because when he comes charging at you, when he commits to cutting your head off, you can't do anything about it. So I think this is the first time we're facing him. The ruby right there can be sold. Same with the spinels. I think I mentioned before, so yeah, I won't go over that. There's a treasure in the tree above. I'll be getting it in a second. Now there's a woman in the shed over there to the left, as well as this guy. And then down the path, there's another collection of enemies that's waiting to aggro. If you want to, you can lure these two enemies plus all the ones by the gate back to the house. And indeed, that's what I'm going to be doing. And then knifing them all through the door. I think in video 1, I mentioned that I was going to speed up some of the knifing, but it really doesn't take too much time. And only thing about the collection of enemies that we're bearing down on us now is that the guy that throws the projectiles won't chase after you, so everybody except one enemy will run back here. And this is a nice strategy because you can just stand here and knife everybody through the door, and since you're right here, you can just access the typewriter before you make your final march out of this zone. This is about a 30-minute video. Some of these chapters, I imagine they might be like about 45 minutes to an hour. However, the boss fight at the end of this chapter, I thought I was going to struggle on it more than I did, but that isn't to say that I did it immaculately or that I couldn't improve whatsoever. But I think I don't like the fight. It's a little dependent on luck, just because of the things that you have to avoid when you're fighting the sea monster. But it's not that bad. I was expecting a lot worse, but that isn't to say I didn't struggle. So, but when you come down here now, this guy's going to be waiting for you. I'm not sure why he doesn't follow you down the path. I mean, now he will, but once it's probably, you have to get a little bit closer to this guy. And I think it's just a subtle and fine art about getting the X button prompt. It does work pretty consistently, but the enemy, you have to knife him like right in the face to stun him. Now, these enemies here, a little bit harder to get to the house than it was before, but the checkpoint is right in this zone. So if you happen to get grabbed or get assaulted too much and they bear down on you, you can just restart. So this isn't anything to worry about, except just getting here. I would say just getting here and killing the first several enemies. The only thing about this area which you'll remember from the beginning of the game. This is what we did in chapter 1-1. The only thing now is that there are 2 villagers on the house directly across the way, and they won't jump down unless perhaps you aggro them, but I think that they need to be killed on the roof. You might have success in trying to hit them off the roof and knock them off if you want to, but I don't think it's that necessary. So what I was trying to do there was approach the house to see if they would jump down and chase after me, but they don't. So we're going to have to go into this house, which I don't think I've shown you inside this house yet. This is the house that contains the shotgun. And I'm not going to be upgrading the shotgun because I'll be getting the riot gun, which has effective damage dealing capacities close by and far away, which I like it for. The thing about the blue medallions that I was talking about, I think I get really lucky over here. Sometimes you do get really lucky, but a lot of the times you get really unlucky. Yeah, I think, yeah, there was no way I should have survived that, but you just kind of take what you get and run with it. There's some ammunition on one of the chimneys over here, and I'll show you where it is in a second. But here's the next guy. Here's the ammunition over there to the left. The thing about the blue medallions, though, there are 15 of them to shoot. 7 in the farm, 8 in the graveyard. Oh, what we're doing with the medallions, I don't think I addressed it in video 1, is that if you shoot 10 of 15, then you get a free upgraded pistol called the Punisher, and I would recommend that you get that and not apply any upgrades to the handgun, and rather just sell the handgun for 4,000 and then get the Punisher for free and then start upgrading that. That's what I'm doing, because to me that's 4,000 pesetas for free plus a better weapon, namely the Punisher. So this is where you're supposed to go. When I first played this game, I got lost here. I figured out how to go in here and to go to the shopkeeper, but I didn't see the door right next to the shopkeeper, so I left this area and I got lost and I got mad. But it's okay now. So there's a spinel in this thing, and as I mentioned before, feel free to sell these because you can't combine them with anything else. Same with the rubies, same with the pipes, the pocket watches, anything like that. If you're in doubt, you can examine it and see if it gives you some kind of an indication if it goes with anything else. Here's another spinel, and I think a couple more. A nice treasure here. So those are spinels, and I think this is a spinel. No, that's an elegant headdress. You probably will be putting gems in that, so I would not sell that right away. So I will be upgrading my TMP, the damage for that. I think the damage is one of the most important things you can upgrade in this game. The capacity, that's also important, followed by, I would say followed by reload speed, and then followed by the firing rate. But it's up to you. So here's another enemy. Going to stand right there, and then once you shoot him, the woman in the shed to the right will come out. But there is time enough to shoot the birds, and this is the church, the graveyard area, where there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3 or 4 medallions, and then there are some more to collect afterwards. That bitch strafed. It's funny. Anyway, it's always, I don't know, when I'm cutting up those homemakers, I don't know what to think about it, but they're coming after me with a knife in most cases, so I just shoot them and don't care about it. I hate the puzzles in this game. I truly hate them. So if you hate them too and you just want to, move on with your life, this is a great guide for you because I have all the answers for you. But that's only because I've looked online to get the answers, because I'm not going to mess with them. I don't like puzzles. I don't like getting stumped on games. I like going in a straight line for the most part and just dealing with hard challenges. That's all I like in games. Like I said, no puzzles. That puzzle shit out of my fucking face, man. The puzzles are just so stupid. But I won't berate on them anymore. But it's just that they're cryptic and you can't skip them or anything. I really appreciate it in Lords of Shadow, Castlevania Lords of Shadow. If you didn't want to participate, you can just skip it. I know that's a very modern sentiment or a sensibility, Okay, so we have 10 out of 15. We don't need any more to get the Punisher, but I think I'll just be showing you where the rest are in case you missed a couple. Yeah, you don't deserve that head anyway, motherfucker. Neither do you. Some of these people, they just don't deserve their heads. Dumb joke, huh? But anyway, so there is a church bell on the church, and I shot it, and I can tell you that more enemies will spawn if you shoot it. So if you do want some more targets to practice on, you can do that. And when we come back here, there's going to be some dogs, and the dogs are pretty troublesome, but they're not in this chapter. So it's pretty much up to you where you want to save it. What I've experienced with the dynamite throwers, you have to hit the dynamite, and it's pretty tricky with the sway of the gun. But it is that you're hitting the dynamite, not hitting their arm or anything like that. But you can try it, But this puzzle here, it's 3-3. I think it's 3-3-3-4. I don't know. I'm sorry. I tried to do it as slow as possible here, so you can. I forgot what it is. I think it's 3-3-3-4-4-3-3 something. Like, how the fuck are you supposed to know that? Examining the gravestones. I don't want to do that. I'm sorry. Sometimes I sound like a bitter old man, probably, but I don't want to do that shit. Okay, so here comes this woman. I don't know how you're supposed to know if, like, the grab that they're going to do, how long the duration of it is. I think you just have to go with it and assume that they're going to do the long drawn-out grab, just so that you don't end up getting grabbed, but just a couple more enemies here, and just bear in mind that this game is extremely old-fashioned in the best possible way, and if you die here, or if you take a hit and you don't want to get hit and you're doing no damage, you're going to have to start the whole zone over again, so. I'll have to find out if certain of these villagers, like, the old man, there's definitely distinct villagers that you see time and again. I'm wondering if certain of them have particular grabs, like the long duration of a grab or the short duration. But we'll have to find out. And I think there might be a snake in this one here. And I was getting damaged by these snakes quite a lot on my main campaign. The thing is, if you swing the blade really quickly, the snake will get killed in one hit, and what you're doing is you're swinging the blade so fast that the snake is getting killed so fast that you won't hear any sound effects when you're slashing him, and he'll just be dead. So there's all of the blue medallions. So the next time we meet up with the shopkeeper, we will be able to get the Punisher for free. Okay, so the bulk of this video, I think, it takes place in the marsh, and what needs to be accomplished in the marsh, nothing, I don't believe. I think it's just you sprint to the end. However, I don't really like to do that. Just sprint to the end. I like to, at least, you know, unless there's a lot of repercussions for dying. But anyway, we will be coming back to this area. There will be a boss battle. But over here to the right is the shopkeeper's location, and you'll have this really nice, pleasant aquatic theme. And it's a neutral zone down here, so there's nothing to worry about. And we'll be picking up the Punisher, selling the handgun for 4,000 pesetas. You can also manipulate the barrels in this game too. What I would do is I would never smash any barrels until, you know, if there's a typewriter right next to you, save the typewriter and try to get as many drops as you can from those barrels, and keep saving it and keep reloading it to get you know, if there's like 3 barrels, if you're getting like 1 out of 3 drops per barrel, try to get 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3. It's all going to add up later when you're struggling on tough rooms or difficult bosses that won't go down very fast. So we're going to be in the marsh pretty soon. There's a checkpoint right here for you, and a spinel. So the marsh area is pretty difficult. I was going to say I got lucky, but I don't think I did get lucky. I think I just was... My reflexes are pretty good now in this game. The sound design is really good. It's very helpful too, as far as when enemies are closing in distance, you can hear their footsteps very clearly. But I think getting these headshots is very important early on so that you don't spawn any enemies behind you. So there are a couple of treasures over here. There is the possibility to lure enemies through traps. There's a couple of water snakes in the marsh here, so you're gonna have to watch out for those guys. I will be throwing 1 grenade. Sometimes clusters of enemies, they just beg for a grenade. And I would just, even though they beg for a grenade sometimes, I just never overuse anything. That's one of the obvious things I would say. Okay, there's a snake right there. I didn't want these snakes to mess me up either, but none of them did. They're pretty passive, but I imagine they will bite you. I've never been bitten by one that wasn't in a box, but it's still a threat. You don't want to mess anything up. Okay, so we're going to come on down here now. Then when you get halfway down the marsh, or if you go to the left where these boxes over here, you are going to spawn some enemies. And there's actually a lot of enemies over here, but they don't have to be killed. So if you are struggling over here, just realize that you can sprint past these guys. However, they might be here when we come back, although I don't think we come back through here. But I've always found that it's best to just clear up everybody so that you never have to run back and get overwhelmed. But here they're coming right now, and the only reason I know that they're coming is because I've died to them before. So I'm going to equip this grenade. One part of me is equipping it and then throwing it because I just picked it up, so you know it's kind of offset. But just never be complacent about items in this game. They're very, very helpful. I think the grenade is probably the most helpful. The incendiary grenade is pretty good too. The flash grenade, I would say it's probably I would just say it's my... I don't fall back on that too much, so... It does help, obviously, stun enemies and give you time to deal damage to them when they're indisposed. Wow, these fuckers. Oh my god, I remember this last night. These guys. It's just, this game, I love. There's nothing wrong with this game, it's just that it's so unsettling a lot of times, and it's just so uncomfortable. And you find yourself oftentimes just nervously glancing over your shoulders to make sure, you know, there's nothing closing in the distance behind you. And I have to give myself a lot of credit, you know, doing all of this without taking any damage. There has been a couple of comments, people say that, you know, it's not that difficult. I can't speak to that quite yet because I'm still struggling with the game a bit. I'm still trying to learn the subtleties of it. So, you know, I'm not going to... Usually what happens on some of my guides, if you've been following me for a while, is that I start out playing games hard no matter what the game is. So I usually start complaining that it's pretty damn hard at the beginning, but by the time the guide's over, I'm usually saying that it's not hard or that it's easy, and I'm contradicting myself. But that's only because a lot of time has passed, and I've spent a lot more time with the game than I have. So, and also, when I start uploading, I've never started to upload a guide that was even remotely finished. So I'm doing these as I think I've already mentioned that as I speak. And just for instance, take an example of like Ninja Gaiden 2. Like if you watch my first of the 4 campaigns that I've done on this channel, you'll hear me complain quite a bit that it's a very difficult game. It's you know, extremely difficult. It's the hardest game ever made, possibly. I might have said that at some point. But if you look at campaign 4, I'll be saying that the game is not hard. I mean, the live commentary one that I did with the Dragon Sword, some of those fucking fights, you know, when there's like 50 enemies or 75 enemies in a fight. I don't know if there's that many, maybe 60 sometimes, but it's just how much time you spent with the game. And I think we still have some more enemies over here. Oh, I just passed a snake I saw. I think that was a snake. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know what this monster is called that we're going to be fighting at the end. He might not have a name. He might have a name. I'm not sure. I think the main thing is that you just realize the importance of evading the rubble inside in the lake. A lot of close calls over here. There's going to be a lot of close calls. But what I was finding, it took me about 40 minutes to put the boss down, and I was thinking to myself, I hope I don't have to use my mouse and keyboard to be as precise as I need to be with the harpoons when I throw those. And I didn't need to be. It's not that bad. I remember doing this. See, what I was going to do when I first played this on normal, I got damaged so much, like all over the place, and I was, in the back of my mind, I was saying to myself, I'm just going to do it no damage when I go on professional. You know, sort of like what I wanted the Evil Within's DLCs to be. I wanted those to be Akumo difficulty. I didn't want them to blanket the screen with darkness and just ruin the DLC. I've never been so disappointed with DLC before in my life. But those DLCs just truly robbed the whole joy out of those campaigns and added no discernible difficulty to it. Okay. I think I'm going to do a little bit of reorganizing here. The brown eggs sell for 600. And we're going to just move this here and proceed forward. I believe we've killed everybody. Nope, I see a couple guys up ahead. And just bear in mind, if they hit you, you know, it's not the end of your run. if you're not doing no damage. I wouldn't do this no damage if I was just playing by myself without publishing anything. I think it's just yeah, the mechanics in this game are so good. Even, you know, the kick, it's a little finicky, but it's more serviceable than a lot of games. And you know, I'm not going to belittle it whatsoever because I love this game. Okay, so a final snake to thwart you if you're not careful. But I think if you've played through the campaign before, you realize that there are snakes sometimes. And we are now coming up on the boss fight. And so as you make your way over here, you want to head over to the right, shoot the treasure out of the tree. Which one is this? Okay. I'm not sure if you combine anything with that. I was just at the merchant, in fact, and I was debating about whether to sell that. You see what I was doing right there was doing a couple of extra slashes just in case there was a snake there. But anyway, the checkpoint, it's not extremely bad. They're just going to put you there every time with the typewriter. So what you do is you just go in the boat, you head away from the screen as much as possible until you get the cutscene, and you see the rubble in the middle of the lake. You have to avoid that primarily. So what you're going to be doing is just throwing the harpoon at this thing as many times as possible, and you have to be controlling the little boat we're on here. Anytime that it's trying to bite you, a lot of the times what you're doing is you're just moving the skiff away from the monster here. So like right here, I would just move to the right if I think it's coming to the left. And right here, what I was experiencing a lot of the times is that I can anticipate which way it's coming. If there's any rubble in any direction, I just go to the opposite. And what you need to do here is just throw the harpoon 2 to 3 times. And in these early phases, you don't have to move the boat at all when he's doing that. But it's just getting the throws to connect and making sure that you're prioritizing moving the boat away. Because if you do run into the rubble, you'll get thrown out of the boat and it counts as damage. So you have to start over unless you don't want to. You can heal here. There's nothing that's stopping you from healing. But you have to participate in the mechanics of throwing the harpoon here. You can't just bust out a rocket launcher and then try to take this thing down in one hit. I would do that if I could. Okay, so which way is he coming? All you need to do is see there's rubble to the right, so throw it to the left. But don't always depend on that. Just that was something that I was noticing a little bit. So right there, what I would do is I would actually move the boat to the right if I were you right there, if he's coming like that. So just move it to the right. And just keep throwing the harpoon. I'm not sure how many hits it is, but it's not that many. Take care.